Welcome to the Dinar Daily, where we break down the world's most intense and high-stakes financial and political stories shaping global headlines. And today the world is watching India. What if I told you that right now, one of the most powerful investigative agencies on the planet has just 48 hours to solve a case that could change everything? As we speak, the Central Bureau of Investigation, India's top investigative authority, is in a race against time. Every passing second brings them closer to either a historic victory for justice or a national controversy that could shake the country's foundation. The pressure is immense, the stakes couldn't be higher, and the outcome could redefine how corruption and power are handled in India forever. This is ticking clock high stakes, inside CBI's 48-hour race. You're watching the Dinar Daily, and tonight we're diving deep into one of the most urgent and closely watched investigations unfolding right now. It's a story packed with suspense, urgency, and consequences that stretch far beyond India's borders. So let's begin with where it all started, with an agency that stands at the center of this storm. The Central Bureau of Investigation, or CBI, is often called India's version of the FBI. It handles corruption cases, major financial crimes, and issues tied to national security. But what's happening right now isn't just another corruption probe. This one has rattled the system from top to bottom. For the past 6 months, CBI officers have been working relentlessly, uncovering a deep web of corruption that cuts through multiple states, ministries, and corporate circles, even touching international financial channels. According to insiders, this operation involves hundreds of individuals, from government officials and corporate tycoons to contractors and intermediaries. And here's where it gets critical. The CBI has only 48 hours left to submit its final charge sheet in court. If they miss this legal deadline, key evidence could lose its validity, and the accused might walk free. This isn't just paperwork, this is justice on the clock. The investigation began quietly 6 months ago, with what appeared to be isolated corruption complaints filed in different regions. Initially, local police handled these cases separately, but soon enough, investigators began noticing patterns. Similar names, identical methods, overlapping financial trails. Piece by piece, the puzzle came together, revealing something far more organized and far-reaching than anyone expected. Those smaller cases were soon merged into a single, massive investigation, one that could expose years of systemic abuse and corruption hidden behind layers of bureaucracy and legal loopholes. Cybercrime specialists, forensic accountants, and financial investigators joined forces in total secrecy, digging into thousands of documents, hard drives, and bank transactions. And now it all comes down to this: a 48-hour sprint to finalize and present the truth in court. So why is this 2-day window such a big deal? Under Indian law, once an investigation concludes, the agency must file a charge sheet, a detailed document that lists every piece of evidence, every witness statement, and every charge. Miss the deadline, and the prosecution's case weakens dramatically. Defense lawyers can challenge the process, argue for bail, or even seek dismissals on technical grounds. That's why the CBI headquarters in New Delhi is in overdrive right now. Lights on, teams awake through the night, cross-checking data, reviewing witness accounts, and finalizing legal arguments. Inside those walls, it's not just an investigation, it's a war against time. Officers are racing through digital evidence, ensuring that not a single inconsistency or error slips through. Even the tiniest mistake could give defense lawyers room to dismantle months of hard work. Every detail must align perfectly. This is the final stretch, and it could define careers, reputations, and even national trust in the system. Reports suggest that 3 critical steps remain in these last 48 hours. First, verification. Every document, statement, and forensic report must be checked again. Second, legal alignment, deciding precisely who will face charges and under which laws. Third, coordination, synchronizing efforts across agencies like the Enforcement Directorate and local police to prepare for immediate legal follow-up. Every step has to be flawless. To understand the magnitude of what's happening, picture this. The evidence room for this single case reportedly spans multiple chambers filled with boxes, drives, and sealed records. Investigators have traced money that moved through dozens of banks, disguised through shell companies that exist only on paper. Contracts worth hundreds of crores were repeatedly granted to the same firms, even when their bids were higher than competitors. It paints a clear picture of collusion, favoritism, and systemic corruption, and it doesn't stop there. Investigators also discovered luxury cars, expensive real estate, and offshore accounts tied to individuals within this network. In some cases, coded emails were used to discuss kickbacks and secret payments. This wasn't amateur corruption. It was a sophisticated operation running like a shadow economy inside the system itself. Even senior officers were stunned by the scale. But with hours left, the challenge isn't just building a strong case, it's keeping it secure. Pressure is coming from every direction: political influence, corporate lobbying, and internal leaks. That's why the CBI has reportedly gone into full lockdown. Access to files is restricted, digital backups are being stored off-site, and internal communications are tightly controlled. Teams are working in shifts, some catching brief naps before jumping back into the chaos. Everyone knows failure isn't an option. Meanwhile, India's media landscape is exploding with speculation. Headlines, hashtags, and live debates dominate the news cycle. For many citizens, this case represents more than corruption. It's a test of whether justice can still prevail over power. Can the system hold firm? Or will another scandal fade into silence? Behind closed doors, the final version of the charge sheet is being drafted. A document expected to run thousands of pages, filled with financial trails, witness testimonies, and forensic data. Every paragraph, every figure is being verified for legal precision. Even punctuation matters here. A single slip could change everything in court. If the CBI succeeds, this case could set a historic precedent. It could redefine how multi-state corruption is handled and show that no one, no matter how powerful, stands above the law. It could strengthen interagency collaboration, inspire new anti-corruption frameworks, and restore public confidence in justice. But if the agency fails, the impact could be devastating. A procedural flaw or weak filing could allow suspects to escape accountability, damaging the credibility of India's justice system for years to come. That's what makes this race so tense. It's not just about catching criminals, it's about protecting the integrity of the nation's governance itself. Inside the CBI headquarters, the atmosphere feels almost cinematic. Officers who've been working for months without rest are pushing through exhaustion. Some are sleeping on floors surrounded by piles of files. Coffee cups, glowing monitors, and stacks of evidence define the scene. Yet beneath the fatigue lies determination, the belief that their work could truly change India's future. While investigators fight to close the case, the accused are also preparing. Many have top-tier legal teams waiting to dissect the charge sheet line by line. They'll search for every loophole, every procedural flaw, every technicality that could get them off the hook. The CBI knows this, which is why every claim, every citation is being cross-checked twice. It's not just an investigation anymore, it's a strategic battle. Experts believe that if the CBI's filing stands strong, it could trigger a ripple effect. Similar pending corruption cases across India could be revived using this model. It might even lead to stronger institutional independence and inspire future reforms. But if they falter, it could stall anti-corruption momentum for years. That's why the next 48 hours are being described as the most crucial countdown in modern investigative history. As the final moments approach, the agency has entered full lockdown mode. No external visitors, no media access, complete confidentiality. Even the timing of the court submission is being kept secret to prevent interference. Backup teams are standing by, ready for immediate action once the document is filed. This isn't just protocol, it's protection. For millions of Indians watching from their homes, this moment feels historic. Decades of corruption scandals have eroded faith, but this case, this mission, feels different. There's transparency, coordination, and above all, a sense of purpose. It's reigniting hope that justice can still prevail, that truth can still rise above power. In living rooms, offices, and coffee shops, the same question echoes. Will the CBI make it in time? Will this finally be the turning point where accountability triumphs over influence? As the final hours tick away, one thing is certain. History is unfolding in real time. In less than 2 days, we'll know whether months of relentless investigation end in victory or another bitter reminder of how fragile justice can be. Either way, this story will be remembered, not just for its complexity, but for what it symbolizes, the unending battle between truth and power. You've been watching the Dinar Daily. Stay tuned for updates on Ticking Clock. High stakes inside CBI's 48-hour race. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, because sometimes the difference between truth and silence is just 48 ho.